a few examples of ingredients you're going to be using when you homebrew. We'll start off with extract. So when you first get started, most homebrewers do start off as extract. This is powderized extract. There's also liquid form. What's happened here is someone, Brice in particular here, has already extracted the sugars from grain and then put it in a powdered format for you to just simply mix with water, and you can create wort. So you can skip over the grain process of extracting the sugars. The next step up would be a partial mash or an all grain mash. So up front here we have a base malt. This is 2-row. This 2-row malt is going to offer that conversion process. So you're going to be mixing that with warm water, converting the starches to sugars, and that's going to offer you your alcohol. Over here we have a caramel 60, so that is a caramel malt. There are not any convertible starches here. This malt is simply for color and flavor. Many of these malts similar to this can also offer body, head retention. They create uniqueness in beers, depth of flavors, things like that. Over here we have a chocolate malt. So there's actually no chocolate in this malt, but this malt has been roasted to a point where when used in small quantities, you're going to extract bitter chocolate flavors, sometimes some coffee, cocoa, things of that sort. Over here we have some hop examples. Here we have some whole leaf hops, so that they you can see they're quite large. There's not even a ½ ounce in this glass here. And then this is a pelletized version of hops. So someone has come along, grown the hops, and compacted them down in a very small version. It's very helpful for home brewers. It takes up much less space, easier to store. So those are two types of hop varieties that you can use on a homebrew scale. And finally, yeast. Many different options for yeast. This is a dry yeast that you can use. Very simple. You can always make a starter, which we'll talk about later. This is a liquid yeast format. So this is called a smack pack. Inside here, there's a small activator. You smack that pack, shake it up, let it warm up. The bag will poof up, and then it'll be ready to pitch for smaller batches. And finally, this is just an example of what the yeast will look like after you brew your beer. So we have pulled this yeast out of the bottom of our primary fermenter. We've labeled it just so we know what's in here. But that's kind of the yeast there with the beer kind of on top just to protect it. And we could reuse this in the future by making a starter. So those are just kind of some examples of different ingredients that you'll be using in homebrewing.